Good morning to you, good morning. Thursday, 9th of November 2023. It's 7:30 in the morning and we've got a clear sky, we've got the moon and... is that Venus, that sort of the little dot below the moon? I don't know, I suppose I could look it up. The weather forecast today says stay indoors, basically. It's not cold, but let's just say I won't be putting the bathing costume on today. Yeah, busy programme of things to do. After tea. Right, well, the first job of the day is to get some diesel, and one of the features of rural living is if you want to get diesel or petrol, essence, gasoline, call it what you will, you've got to have enough in the tank to get to the petrol station. The nearest garage to Azay-le-Ferron is in Poney, and I like going there. The gentleman, the family that own and operate that garage are good people, but he's always about 10 centimes more per litre than the supermarket petrol stations, gasoline stations. So long and the short of that is, I admit I get my gasoline, my diesel from the supermarkets. Most supermarkets, most petrol stations have 24-hour pumps that you can use 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, provided you've got a bank card that is acceptable here in France. Yeah, if you're a tourist driving in France, you might want to check with your bank whether your card is going to work here. Not all do, and that would be pretty disastrous if you've just about run out of juice and your card won't work the petrol pumps. Of course, if you've got a French bank card, not a problem. Or if you've got a German one, a European Union one, not a problem. But not all British cards will work, and I don't think American Express cards will work in our local petrol pumps. But you plan ahead. Looking at what I've got in the car at the moment, I've got a good 150-200 kilometres worth of diesel. So it's not as if this is an emergency, but I do want a full tank before the weekend. Now, most petrol stations, gas stations, will be open 6 days a week. Oh, excuse me. In rural areas, you'll find that very often they'll be closed on a Saturday afternoon and a Sunday. So, using cash ceases to be an option. This Sunday, if you've been reading the calendar, you will find that there will be a lot of businesses closed because, of course, this Saturday, I should say, is the 11th of November. And if you live in Europe, 11th of November is a particularly poignant and special day. You know, it's variously called Armistice Day or Remembrance Day, but it started to celebrate and commemorate the war dead of World War One. You know, the war of 1914 to 1918. So that's... wondered what that noise was. That was my rear windscreen wiper. Obviously now we commemorate, regrettably, our war dead from many subsequent wars, but it is one of those things that if you come here for a weekend or come here to go shopping, you do need to check the calendar and think about whether you're going to be able to buy a frozen pizza today or not. Well, Saturday morning you won't be able to buy a frozen pizza. You will be able to buy diesel, provided you've got a bank card that works. But it does mean that today I do need just to think about being ready for the weekend, and I shall top the tanks off. And continuing talking about fuel, yesterday afternoon I got in a conversation about the price of firewood, and I get all of mine for the best price, because I will scrounge pallets and I will find bits of tree and, you know, and then I cut it and stack it and such like. So I'm not that familiar with the price of firewood, and I don't know how firewood lasts, and there's great debates about what type of wood you should use in what type of stove. So the shock horror story from yesterday afternoon was one of my friends had been talking to one of her friends who had to pay €129, I'll let you all work out your local conversions to that, for a stair of wood. And I have to admit, I'm not really sure exactly what a stair looks like. It's a measure that is used if you're buying firewood or bois de chauffage. They're cleaning up a war memorial. Presumably there's going to be a ceremony there on Saturday. That's a memorial to members of the Mackey who died in a battle in that field. Yeah, so €129 for a stair, and the discussion went on that this particular person wanted 30 centimetre lengths because of the sort of fire that they use, and different people chipped in with different comments about how, well, there's the problem. If this person had bought 45 centimetre lengths, it would have been cheaper. Or if they'd bought 2 metre lengths, it would have been cheaper still. And people would say, yes, but you know, then you've got to cut and split it yourself. And that, of course, is where the huge cost comes in. Not in the price and the value of the wood, but in the cost of paying somebody to cut it to your particular requirements. You know, I'm quite happy cutting and splitting, but some people get very, very particular. You know, nothing with a diameter bigger than 3 centimetres, or you know, whatever it is that you want for your particular fire. And of course, being an ignorant Englishman, I said, well, can't they cut it themselves? And there was a little bit of gentle laughter, and someone said, Madame is 96. So I guess at 96 you probably don't want to be wielding an axe and cutting firewood, do you? I don't know, maybe at 96 you will be, but I guess I understand why 96-year-old ladies pay other people to cut and stack their firewood for them. You know, and full credit, she lives in her own house and she picks up cut and stacked firewood that she puts on her own fire. So I guess we can allow people the luxury of paying someone else to cut their firewood when they're 96. Well, one of the wonderful things about YouTube is sometimes we get to see places that we're possibly never going to go to ourselves. So it's with great thanks that I mention Christine and her video of Rest Park. Hope I said that right. It looks like it's Rest Park, which is a very interesting place in Bedfordshire, England. Very interesting. I read the Wikipedia entrance about the place, how it was used as a military hospital during World War One, and the plans for the restoring of the building. Yes, good stuff. Good to see. Right, something you can't do in the gardens of Rest Park is you can't go looking for things to have for your dinner. Is that, yeah, that's sort of just about big enough. Well, it's too late now, I've pulled it up. A rutabaga. That's for me dinner tonight. I thought I'd better do this because our weather looks like we're going to have some wetness later today. I suppose I could, to go with this, I could have a beetroot. Not very impressed with my beetroots. They didn't really do what they're supposed to do. But I think we might extract one. Yeah, that's not very impressive, is it? Never mind. Well, yes, I timed that just about right. I think this is what we're going to have for the rest of the day now. Never mind.